started Box Fit a few weeks ago. So that's a very good point. It's things like this we have to actually ask when we, boxers essentially putting up videos of them knocking people out. Who is this guy? You need to know that, because then that kind of qualifies that knockout or knockdown to be good or bad. Cheap sport.
I think as a boxing purist, it's quite upsetting to watch, young fighters struggle to pay the bills and struggle in little shithole gyms around the country trying to get big money fights and going through the Olympics and going through the amateurs and not being able to pay their bills. And I understand how frustrating that can be. So I think that's where the frustration comes from. I don't think it's everything that's wrong with boxing. I think that anything that gets people to tune in to a boxing match is good for the sport.
One more comment that he said was, Jake's been sparring Frank Sanchez, Jared Anderson, and Lawrence Okoli, some of the best the sport's got in the heavyweight division. And he said there's no way these guys are actually going in there and sparring to the full extent. Look, you're a fighter. You've had so many camps throughout your life. Do you think Jake is almost asking them to go easy, or do you think this is proper sparring going on?
The point of sparring is to learn. The point of sparring is not for them to get in there and give Jake a concussion so he can't fight. So are they trying to knock Jake out? No. But are they giving him enough?
The internet didn't just replay this clip. It interrogated it, because the moment that sparring knockout of Jake Paul started circulating, boxing fans smelled something off. Too clean, too convenient, to Hollywood. And when Anthony Joshua's name got pulled into the conversation, the tone shifted from jokes to side-eye real fast. This wasn't just another influencer boxing moment. This was a heavyweight reality check waiting to happen. People slowed the footage down frame by frame, like it was the Zapruder film. Gloves barely landing, footwork looking staged, timing feeling rehearsed. And suddenly the internet asked the question nobody wanted to ask out loud. Was this a knockout or a performance? Then Anthony Joshua reportedly reacted, not with yelling, not with insults, but with that calm, dangerous energy that says, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. And that's worse, because disappointment from a real champion hits harder than any punch. Jake Paul built an empire on spectacle, but boxing doesn't respect special effects. It respects impact. This made influencer beef look cute. It made fake reality TV drama look amateur. Because once real fighters start questioning your footage, the gloves come off figuratively and eventually literally. Stay locked in. Because if this knockout was staged, what else has been? And if Anthony Joshua is calling it out, this story is just warming up. The clip didn't go viral because it was impressive. It went viral because it felt wrong. A sparring knockout so perfectly timed, it looked edited by destiny itself. The kind of moment that makes boxing fans squint at their screens and say nothing at first. Because disbelief needs a second to load. Jake Paul's knockout footage spread like wildfire. Short clips, slow motion replays, dramatic captions screaming dominance. The internet was told this was proof of progress, power, and legitimacy. Except the boxing world doesn't clap on command. It inspects. People started slowing the video down, frame by frame. Glove placement, footwork, balance. The punch didn't land like a knockout punch. The reaction didn't look natural. And once fans sense choreography, they stop watching like fans and start watching like investigators. Then Anthony Joshua's name entered the chat. Not because he was chasing attention, because people started tagging him, asking questions, comparing realities. And when a real heavyweight champion becomes the measuring stick, illusion gets fragile fast. Joshua's reputation made the contrast brutal. Years of wars, real knockdowns, real damage, real recovery. Boxing fans know what authentic impact looks like. They've seen it from him, which made Jake's clip feel like a trailer, not a documentary. The sarcasm online sharpened instantly. People joked that the knockout came with a lighting crew. Others said it looked like WWE with better gloves. Laughs aside, the underlying tone was skepticism, not hate. Jake Paul's brand complicated everything. He's built on spectacle, controversy, and controlled chaos. That strategy works online. Boxing, however, is allergic to shortcuts. You can't filter impact. You can't algorithm your way into respect. Anthony Joshua didn't rush to comment, and that delay spoke volumes. Champions don't argue with clips immediately. They let the footage talk. They let fans reach conclusions. And those conclusions were not flattering. Boxing analysts joined the conversation carefully. They didn't scream fraud. They didn't accuse outright. They asked questions. And in this sport, questions cut deeper than insults. The sparring partner's reaction raised eyebrows. The fall looked rehearsed to some, the recovery too quick. The moment felt staged to maximize drama, not reflect reality. That perception alone was enough to ignite controversy. Fans split into camps fast. One side defended Jake, saying sparring is unpredictable and knockouts happen. The other side argued this wasn't unpredictability. It was performance disguised as progress. Anthony Joshua's silence remained central. Because when a heavyweight king stays quiet while everyone else debates authenticity, it feels like a warning sign hovering in the background. Memes started flooding timelines. Side-by-sides of real knockouts versus the clip. Comparisons to movie fight scenes. Jokes about stunt doubles and camera angles. Humor became the vehicle for criticism. Jake's supporters doubled down. They claimed jealousy, gatekeeping, old-school boxers refusing to accept change. But the boxing world doesn't reject outsiders for entering. It rejects them for pretending. The question stopped being about the punch. It became about credibility. About how much of Jake's boxing journey is organic and how much is engineered for viral effect. And that's a dangerous question to ask publicly. Anthony Joshua's presence loomed over everything. Not as an accuser, but as a standard. When your highlight is compared to someone's career, the cracks show quickly. By the end of the first wave, the knockout wasn't celebrated. It was scrutinized. And once scrutiny replaces applause, the narrative flips hard. Because in boxing, you can fake confidence. You can fake hype. But you can't fake impact, and the internet was just getting started. Once doubt entered the room, it didn't leave quietly. It multiplied. Every replay created a new theory. Every pause added another question. The clip stopped being evidence of dominance and started looking like a magic trick. Everyone was trying to figure out. Boxing Twitter went into forensic mode. Angles were analyzed like courtroom exhibits. Timing was questioned. People asked why the camera was perfectly placed for the fall. Because coincidences exist, but perfect coincidences make fans nervous. Then the heavyweight comparisons went viral. Clips of Anthony Joshua's real knockouts resurfaced immediately. Sweat flying, bodies folding, chaos uncontrolled. The contrast was brutal. One looked like survival. The other looked like choreography. The memes came in ruthless waves. People joked that the sparring partner deserved an Oscar. Others said the knockout had better camera work than blockbuster films. Laughter became the language of disbelief. Jake Paul's defenders got louder. They accused critics of gatekeeping boxing, of hating influencers, of refusing to accept change. But the criticism wasn't about where Jake came from. It was about what the footage showed. Anthony Joshua finally addressed the moment indirectly. No rant, no insults. Just that calm, surgical dismissal that hits harder than shouting. He didn't say fake. He didn't need to. His tone suggested experience, recognizing theater. That reaction lit the fuse. Because when a former unified heavyweight champion raises an eyebrow, the entire boxing world squints harder. Joshua doesn't benefit from lying. He benefits from being accurate. Prominent fighters started chiming in sideways. Posts about real sparring. Comments about gym culture. Quotes about respect being earned in rounds, not reels. Nobody named Jake directly, but everyone knew the target. The outrage grew smarter. Fans stopped yelling fraud and started asking for transparency. Who was the sparring partner? What were the rules? Why was the clip edited the way it was? Those questions don't disappear easily. Jake's brand strategy suddenly worked against him. Years of spectacle trained audiences to doubt authenticity. When you sell shock for a living, people expect illusions. That expectation poisoned the footage before explanations could catch up. YouTube breakdowns exploded overnight. Creators promised frame-by-frame truth. Titles screamed exposed and debunked. Everyone wanted to be the one who cracked the illusion. The algorithm rewarded suspicion generously. Pop culture comparisons went nuclear. People said this was boxing's version of reality TV confessionals. Others compared it to wrestling promos with gloves. Exaggerated, sure, but exaggeration thrives when trust erodes. Jake Paul responded with confidence, posts emphasizing hard work, clips of training montages, statements about doubters always hating. But confidence doesn't fix credibility when the footage itself feels staged. Anthony Joshua stayed measured. He didn't chase the conversation. He let it orbit him. That restraint made Jake's responses feel louder and more defensive by comparison. Fans began questioning future fights. If the sparring footage felt artificial, what about the matchmaking? What about the narratives? Doubt spread beyond the clip and into the entire business model. Boxing purists sharpened their knives. They argued this was exactly why influencers shouldn't control the narrative, not because they can't fight, but because spectacle and sport collide messily when edited highlights replace. Transparency. The sparring partner became a mystery. Speculation ran wild about incentives, pressure, and staging. No proof surfaced, but suspicion doesn't need proof to grow. It only needs silence and time. Jake's supporters accused everyone of jealousy again. But jealousy doesn't require slow-motion analysis. Doubt does. And doubt was everywhere now. Anthony Joshua's legacy loomed large. He represents authenticity earned the hard way. Every time his name was mentioned, it reminded fans what real damage looks like. That comparison alone was devastating. The narrative flipped completely. What started as a flex turned into a liability. The knockout clip became a question mark instead of a trophy. By this point, the outrage wasn't emotional. It was analytical. Fans didn't want drama. They wanted truth. And truth is uncomfortable when your brand relies on spectacle. The culture reached a consensus without agreeing. Nobody proved it was fake. Nobody proved it was real. But once uncertainty replaces belief, the damage is already done. Because in boxing, you don't need to be exposed to lose credibility. You just need people to stop believing, and belief was slipping fast. When the noise finally cooled, the consequences stayed hot. The clip stopped trending, but the questions didn't. That's the part nobody plans for. Viral moments fade, but doubt settles in quietly and refuses to leave. And this doubt parked itself right in the middle of Jake Paul's boxing narrative. Anthony Joshua didn't need to say another word. His reaction had already done the damage. Sometimes credibility speaks louder by stepping back. When a real champion doesn't argue, doesn't clarify, and doesn't chase the moment, it makes the other side look like it's over-explaining. Jake Paul's image took a subtle hit, not a collapse, not a cancellation, something worse, skepticism. Fans didn't reject him outright, but they stopped giving him the benefit of the doubt. And in boxing, doubt is heavier than criticism. Future sparring clips were now prejudged. Every new training video faced forensic scrutiny before it could impress. People slowed things down automatically, paused punches, questioned reactions. Once trust breaks, nothing plays at full speed again. Promoters and insiders adjusted quietly. They didn't make statements, but they paid attention. Credibility matters behind closed doors more than online hype. And moments like this get remembered when negotiations happen off camera. Boxing purists felt validated. Not because they hate Jake Paul, but because they warned that spectacle eventually collides with scrutiny. The sport doesn't forgive shortcuts, even entertaining ones. And boxing memory is long. Jake's supporters stayed loyal but louder. They defended harder, explained more, argued longer. That shift mattered. Confidence defends itself. Doubt needs backup, and the tone change didn't go unnoticed. Anthony Joshua's reputation only solidified. This moment reminded people why his opinion carries weight. He didn't chase clout. Clout chased him. Being the standard means you don't have to shout to be heard. The knockout clip became a reference point. Anytime influencer boxing was discussed, that video came up, not as proof of dominance, but as an example of why fans question authenticity in the first place. The industry took a quiet lesson. Spectacle can sell tickets, but credibility sells longevity. And longevity is what separates viral fighters from real ones. That gap became impossible to ignore. Jake Paul didn't disappear. He kept training, kept posting, kept building. But the energy shifted. Every highlight now came with an asterisk in the comments, whether deserved or not. The scandal didn't end with exposure. It ended with uncertainty. And uncertainty is the hardest thing to shake because it doesn't resolve. It lingers. It waits for the next moment to resurface. Fans moved on publicly. New fights took over timelines. New controversies demanded attention. But this moment stayed bookmarked in boxing memory, ready to be reopened whenever authenticity came up again. This wasn't about one sparring knockout. It was about perception. About how fast hype can turn into suspicion when the visuals feel too perfect. Boxing respects chaos, not choreography. Anthony Joshua never claimed victory. He didn't need to. The culture did that part for him. Silence became the verdict, and silence is rarely appealed successfully. Jake Paul's journey didn't end here. But it changed. The road ahead became steeper, narrower, and louder with critics watching every step. That's the price of being taken seriously, because in boxing, you don't lose when someone exposes you. You lose when people stop believing the footage. And once belief cracks, every punch has to work twice as hard. The gloves are still on. The cameras are still rolling. But the illusion, that took a hit. And the next clip won't get the same grace. Now it's your turn to swing. Was this just overanalysis from boxing purists? Or did that sparring clip smell like choreography from the first replay? Did Anthony Joshua expose something without saying much? Or did the internet do what it does best and run wild? Drop your take in the comments, because quiet opinions don't change narratives. If this breakdown had you squinting at slow-motion punches, smash that like button like it owes you money. Hit subscribe like you don't trust highlight clips anymore and want the truth before the hype. This channel doesn't watch boxing casually. We interrogate it. Let's be real for a second. You didn't make it this far for influencer cheerleading. You stayed because boxing is sacred to you, and nothing irritates fans more than spectacle pretending to be substance. When authenticity gets questioned, the gloves come off fast. These scandals don't stop at one clip. They ripple. One video turns into 10 questions. One eyebrow raise from a real champion turns into a credibility crisis. And when the next viral knockout hits your timeline, this story is exactly what you'll remember. So if you want sharp breakdowns, no filter commentary, and boxing conversations that don't bow to hype machines, you're already in the right place. Like, comment, subscribe, lock in, because at Punch Press, we don't fall for the highlight. We check the replay, and when the next clip claims greatness, we'll be here asking the only question that matters. Did it really land? Or did it just look good on camera? Just look good on camera.